Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now in this episode we're going to be talking about walking and whether walking can help with love handles. Now if you didn't know, I'm Steve and I've lost over 100 pounds, so when it comes to weight loss I know a thing or two. Now before we get into the video, I will say that your weight will come down to three main areas. Those areas are going to be caloric maintenance, caloric surplus and a caloric deficit. Now these numbers are specific to you and constantly changing, and they depend on a few things. Primarily, you guessed it, your weight, your food intake, your activity level, your metabolism, the amount of muscle you have, but primarily it's going to be your weight. Now let me explain those three categories. Firstly, we have your caloric maintenance. Now that is the amount of calories to maintain your current body weight. Now finding out this number is easy, but it does take about a week or so. Now what you're going to have to do is start tracking everything that you eat to find your caloric maintenance. So that'll be the amount of calories that you need, like we just said, to maintain your body weight. Now I know this sounds a bit boring when you're tracking all of your activity and your food intake, but don't worry, after a little while it does start to become second nature. Now after this you might actually be shocked to see how much you're eating, but once these few days have gone by or that week has gone by, we have now got our caloric maintenance, and from that point we can get our caloric deficit, which is the aim of the game when it comes to weight loss, and we can also get our caloric surplus just in case you want to gain a little bit of weight. But after that week we now know what we need to do. Now a really interesting thing happens when you start tracking your calories to find your caloric maintenance. You see, you don't actually end up finding your caloric maintenance at all. What you end up finding is your caloric deficit. Now let me explain. You see, as soon as you start tracking your calories and you're writing down everything you're eating, you're logging all of your activity, you start to become a lot more conscious about what it is you are doing and what it is you are eating. So you're a lot more keen to have a healthy salad for lunch as opposed to a bit of chocolate, some crisps and some fizzy pop, because you know you're going to be writing it down and you don't want to be horrified at the end of the day when you read back everything that you've consumed. So just that simple act of writing things down is going to kickstart your weight loss, because you're going to be more conscious. All of a sudden you have some accountability to yourself about what you're actually eating and what you're doing, and that just in and of itself is going to help you no end. So in that first week that you do decide to start tracking calories to find your caloric maintenance, you end up losing weight and getting into your caloric deficit. But that's okay, because now we know the number of calories you need to be in a deficit and start losing weight. But do remember that these numbers are constantly changing, so as you get smaller, your body will require less calories to maintain that new body weight. So if you haven't gained any extra muscle and your activity levels haven't increased, you're going to plateau a little bit because your maintenance is going to come down a little bit. And that brings me on to the next point, and that is what we see so often with people losing weight. So they start off really well and they start to lose weight and the weight's coming down and down and down, and then all of a sudden you start to plateau a little bit and the line doesn't go down anymore, it just seems to go across, and then people get discouraged, they binge eat, and then they gain loads of weight again, or even more. Now what's happening in those situations is that people don't know that as they lose weight, their caloric maintenance number comes down with them if their activity levels haven't increased and they haven't gained any extra muscle mass. So that's why we see so many people getting frustrated with weight loss, is because they're doing the right things, but just as you become smaller and you have less weight on your body actually requires then less calories to maintain that weight. So that's why people end up getting really frustrated. Now you can avoid this, like we said before, by adding slightly more muscle to your body or increasing your activity levels, or the big one, just eating a little bit less chocolate. So how does walking help with losing them love handles? Let's get into it. Now walking is a fantastic exercise and one that I constantly use and one that helped me make this transformation. Now an average person will probably burn around 200 to 350 calories an hour walking, depending on a few different factors, their body weight, incline, the pace that they're moving, and things like this, but it is a phenomenally good exercise, and can really help jumpstart the exercise. And it's also one that doesn't have any barriers to entry really, so you don't need to obtain a really good fitness level like you would if you're trying to run for an extended period of time. Walking can just be done by 99% of the population. You just get out there and you just start walking, and the benefits are huge. Now, one of the major benefits of walking is actually that it doesn't have any huge risks associated with it, like you have when you're doing running, for example. So the risk of injury with running is so much higher than it is with walking, just because of the impact of the movement on the joints. With walking, it's a lot slower and there's a lot less impact on the joints, but you're still getting a fantastic workout, something that's going to build your cardiovascular endurance, and not to the same degree as running, but the risk of injury is massively reduced when you do walking. Now, going back to before, so that 200 to 350 calories that we burn per hour, that's actually going to start to add up. So the number to burn around a pound of fat is 3,500. So as we progress through with this, and we're doing a few of these walks, so you're going out and walking for an hour, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, it's going to start to build up into something like 1,000 calories per week. Now that is going to have a huge impact, and then over the year that's around 50,000 calories, which is a lot of fat to burn, and you will look, it will be night and day. And what I would recommend is taking before and after pictures like I have done. So sometimes you don't always see massive changes when you jump on the scales, but when you look at your before and afters, you really know that you're making a massive change. So can walking help you lose them love handles that you would love to lose? Yes it can, because it helps you burn calories and fat from all over the body, your love handles included. So if you're somebody that doesn't have a fantastic level of fitness and you just want to get started with this, you want to start losing love handles immediately, walking's the one for you. It has a very low risk of injury and is fantastic generally for health and fitness. Yeah, I mean, I used to be incredibly unfit, and walking is something that I did often and still do to help me lose weight and then maintain that weight loss. So walking's been fantastic for me over the years, and something that really did help me with my weight loss. It can definitely help you lose those love handles. Yeah, it's something I can definitely recommend. Now, if you want to see exactly what happened to me when I upped the amount of steps that I was doing to 25,000 steps a day, and the results are pretty crazy, click that link right there. But apart from that, I'm Steve, this is Life at the White House. Beware the Donut Goblin, and I'll see you again in that one.